Hello, my name is Jake Archambault, and for our knowledge translation assignment, me and my partner John Hernandez will focus on Indigenous representation within the Assassin's Creed franchise. So, first things first, what exactly is Assassin's Creed? Assassin's Creed is a highly successful video game franchise which started all the way back in 2008 by Ubisoft Games. The franchise tells the story of a secret war that has been raging all throughout history between two factions, the Assassins and the Templars. Now, the Templars wish to create a perfect, non barbaric world, but they feel that humanity is not capable of doing this themselves, so the only way to create a perfect world is by eradicating free will. They aim to do this by the use of powerful artifacts left behind by an ancient, advanced civilization called Pieces of Eden, which supposedly hold the genetic codes for free will itself. Now, the Assassins, on the other hand, fight to overthrow tyranny and defend free will by following a strict code of honor called the Creed, which, among other things, forbids the killing of innocents, and they are only allowed to kill targets if it is for the greater good. In each game, the player takes on the role of a modern day assassin, and using a device called the Animus, the player is able to relive the genetic memories of their ancestors and essentially travel back in time. Now, the reason they do this is to use the knowledge and experiences of previous assassins in order to find Pieces of Eden before the Templars can use them to eliminate free will. And that is why each installment of the franchise takes place during different points in history, such as ancient Greece, the Renaissance, Victorian London, etc. Now, you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with Indigenous representation? Well, that brings us to the third installment of the franchise, Assassin's Creed 3, which is set during the American Revolution. In Assassin's Creed 3, you relive the memories of an assassin by the name of Connor Kenway, or as he is known in his village, Radun Hagedun. Connor was born to the Templar leader Haytham Kenway, who was sent by his London masters to North America with the mission to find a first civilization temple. To accomplish this, he gained the trust of Gazezajo, a Kinyanke Haka woman who revealed that the precursor site that he sought was considered sacred ground. Over the course of their partnership, they grew closer and conceived a child. Shortly after showing him the site, Gazezajo discovered Haytham's connections to the Templars, and their desire to use the precursor site to shape the world on the Order's interests. Stung by the betrayal, she kept her pregnancy a secret and ordered Haytham to leave. Despite knowing the father's affiliations, the villagers allowed Gazezajo to raise her son in their community. She later named the child Radun Hagedun, which translates roughly to "his spirit has emerged," or "he has begun to live" in the Mohawk language. 4 years later, Radun Hagedun and his friends ventured into the woods outside their village to play hide and seek. While he was hiding, he was grabbed and thrown to the ground by a stranger. Soon later, he was surrounded by a group of Englishmen. The man then grabbed the boy by the throat and started to ask him questions, but he refused to answer. He then insulted Radun Hagedun and his people, saying that they were worthless and should surrender what they had if they knew what was good for them. Radun Hagedun then demanded to know the name of his attacker, and the Templar Charles Lee identified himself before one of his men knocked the boy out. Radun Hagedun regained consciousness only to find the forest full of smoke. He immediately made his way back to his village, only to find it on fire. His mother, Gazezajo, was trapped in a burning longhouse, and though he tried his best, the boy was not able to save her. In the years that followed, Connor became convinced that Charles Lee was the man responsible for the destruction of his village and the death of his mother. 9 years later, Radun Hagedun was now a young man, and the clan mother revealed that their village was built on sacred ground, and it was their duty to protect it and keep it hidden. She opened a box and revealed a sphere, which she handed to him. The moment he touched it, Radun Hagedun experienced a vision. In it, an ethereal woman appeared to him and introduced herself as Juno, saying they were now in a place called the Nexus. She transformed him into an eagle and guided him through a series of potential futures, not only of his village, but also of North America and the world. She warned that maintaining the status quo would not save anything, but instead would give the Templars time to master first civilization technology and lay waste to the planet. Juno then showed him the symbol for the assassins, and told him to follow it to the Davenport homestead, where an assassin by the name of Achilles would train him and allow him to join the fight against the Templars and seek revenge on Charles Lee. Radun Hagedun, now a fully trained assassin, began his fight to eliminate the Templars and changed his name to Connor in order to blend in better. Throughout his journey, he encounters various important figures from the Revolutionary War, and at one point helps George Washington himself in the fight against the British, serving as a representation of the real-life inspiration that the Iroquois Confederacy had on the U.S. Constitution.